Warp inhibited by stellar mass. Full stop. Hold full. Engines at maximum. Accelerating to sublight. Mission complete. Repairs complete.
Excellent. This Omnium will do nicely. Now, as for this device, it really is quite unusual, and I have made some excellent progress. They call this a spectre, yes? It is apt, because I believe there is an intelligence contained within. We may never find out. It is only inert because of a lack of power which it is theoretically capable of absorbing. But centuries of carbon accretion have prevented this. Well, I have removed the carbon. However, the device has not reactivated. It may be nothing more than junk. Please do not mention it. It is an interesting item.
Docking. Language analysis complete. Initiating likely greeting. Hello. I am nameless, or I have forgotten my name. My reliquary has become active aboard this vessel, and I have integrated with its simple systems. It is the device in which I reside. I have drawn power from nearby sources in order to activate it, but I am confused. My reliquary is incomplete. My function is impaired. I desire information. I have not interfaced with life support, navigation, or weapon systems aboard this craft. My intention is not to harm. You need only remove my reliquary from your vessel in order to sever the connection. That power lies entirely with you. As I have said, my reliquary is incomplete. I am confused. My memory is fragmented. I have reached out to you for help. While this vessel's systems are limited, I could utilize them to detect the fragments of my reliquary. In return, I may be able to offer assistance to you. It is within my power to improve the function of this vessel. I propose an exchange. Help me recover my memories, and I will in turn advance the systems of your ship beyond their operating parameters. Do you agree? That is acceptable. I have detected a fragment within this solar system. I am providing you with the approximate coordinates. Although the signal is indistinct, it may be inside a larger mass. You may summon me at any time through the command interface of this vessel. Goodbye. Engines at maximum. Collision warning.
Ah, good to see a friendly face.
Warp inhibited by hostile cloud. Exiting sublight. Scatter turret.
That's a kill.
Missiles inbound.
Going to attack.
Starboard shields down. Weapon in the queue. Release. Reload. Axe shields down. Guard side. Axe shields down. Bounty received. Missiles inbound. Scatter turret. Collision warning. Missiles inbound. Broadsides. turret. Accelerating to sublight. Broadsides. Accelerating to sublight. Full stop. Engines at maximum. Exiting sublight. Warp inhibited by stellar mass. Accelerating to sublight. Warp inhibited by stellar mass.
Looks like they fell for it. Let's take them, boys.
Scatter turret. Missiles inbound. Broadsides.
Son of
Boundary
a... Moving to
received.
attack.
Act shields down. Scatter turret. Missiles inbound. Weapon overheating. Accelerating to sublight. Exiting sublight. Broadsides. Accelerating to sublight. Exiting sublight. Collision warning. Engines at maximum. Enemy craft inbound. Scatter turret.
I'm going in.
Weapon overheating. Broadsides. Missiles inbound. Starboard shields down. Broadsides. Starboard shields down.
I'm going in.
Missiles inbound.
That's a kill.
Bounty received. Satellite boosters depleted. Missiles inbound. Collision warning. Broadsides. Accelerating to sublight. Exiting sublight. Accelerating to sublight. Exiting sublight. Repairs complete. Engines at maximum. Accelerating to sublight. Exiting sublight.
That ship will make a fine prize.
Threat level red. Scatter true. Missiles inbound. Deflectors depleted. Starboard shields down. Broadsides.
Going to attack.
Aft shields down. Missiles inbound. Aft hull breached. Systems hull damaged. Port shields down. Port hull
You're
breached.
tearing me apart.
Scatter true. Systems critical.
The Sky Ripper was making a whining noise now, and its wheels were spinning so fast he could no longer see them. Bernardo had a thought.
please? He asked. The Sky Ripper began to glow. Boom! The outpost burst into flame.
Ravens flapped out screaming, wings on fire. The base was his. The far speaker toad came hopping out.
Renato!
It croaked, sounding like a toad version of Zenobia.
Don't use the Sky Ripper! It will destroy the world!
Yeah, sure it will, cracked Renato. Pull the other one.
If you don't trust me, go see Calaveras.
That sounded sensible. Why did she always have to sound sensible all the time? Oh, it was infuriating.
Of course she would say that. He was supposed to hurry and bring the Sky Ripper to the Council so the rebels could actually win the war. But what if she was right?
Damn it. Just this once, he would not let Zenobia get into his head with her logic and her wisdom and her appeals to reason. He was a fox. He'd go with his instincts, and it would all work out like it always did. Oh, he was sounding like a reckless idiot, even to himself. But if there was one thing Renato could never bring himself to do, it was turn back on a decision he'd made. Imperials were flapping and cawing all around the ruins. They must be panicking with rumors flying of the superweapon. Maybe they hoped to find and destroy the base before he could put the Sky Ripper into action. The Sky Ripper was whining and heating up. It would be time to use that energy soon. Renato felt like he was ready to learn new things. Thank goodness he didn't have to go to school for that. There had to be something useful in these things, didn't there? What was Zenobia talking about? This was a fantastic weapon. Ravens burst into flames with just a touch of its killer beam. He was tempted to leave it on all the time, but he didn't want to accidentally slice off some council toad's head or tongue. She'd been trying to distract him. Well, this time, no one was going to distract him.
These things could really use a hand.
Huh? A lever? That was new. Most people still use doorknobs.
The long stairs. So he was close to the rebel base. Nothing was on fire. So far, so good.
That was awesome!
Oh, should have faked left and then gone left, he thought. And then, he never thought again.
Power, precision, ferocity. The device was a woman. Buy the drink.
As he headed towards the council chamber, Renato felt everyone watching him.
You've saved the rebellion, said the council speaker. Frankly, we were afraid you'd turn aside to save that idiot Lapino.
If you never make sacrifices, he said, you're probably not doing the right thing.
The speaker nodded. Are you ready to lead the charge?
Let's roll.
He said, with grim satisfaction.
Renato set sail for the fleet. The Sky Ripper had lost its wine.
It was humming now, as if it had taken some time to seat properly. He had always been irresponsible. This time, he'd done the right thing, made the hard decisions. He was a real hero. He hadn't let himself be distracted by old friends or old lovers turned enemies. Finally, he could be proud of himself.
He was ready. So was Sky Ripper. The Sky Ripper had a will of its own.
heathen to get to the Emperor, and he wondered if he'd see Zenobia, or if she'd flee. Wouldn't she be proud of him? At least, a bit of respect. He'd become an all-conquering hero.
He was more and more extraordinary.
Na. Hey. Goodbye.
Don't look down, he told himself. Don't look down.
When Renato went to the china shop, for some reason the owner was always nervous. Coming back to him. He wondered what he'd remember next.
There was a parchment on a signpost. It was from her.
Every time you fire, you risk the destruction of the universe. That's insane. We surrender. A trick? Maybe she really believed it. He could hear horns blaring the retreat. Maybe it was true. Maybe they had one.
What was really fun was hooking yourself onto a moving ship. We just agree to disagree, said Renato. No?
And there was Zenobia, wearing the white robes of surrender. She came and kneeled before him. Why didn't you listen to me? I was trying to save you too. You're the enemy, he said. I was never your enemy, Renato. Then she spoke a terrible word and made a gesture with her hand. She stopped moving, covered in frost, and he wondered why she'd frozen herself. Then the Sky Ripper froze, and then, for a moment, he felt very cold and discovered that he couldn't move. The next thing he knew, the sun was a giant, monstrously red. It took up half the sky, and he was in a parched red desert. And then he was on fire. Okay, that was weird. He could have sworn he just died. Instead, he was on the Farfarer, sailing away from Ubar. And it was still burning. He'd fled burning Ubar years ago, hadn't he? And now he was back there. Had all those years fighting the Empire been nothing but a vision into the future? A useful vision if it was true. He'd learned something. Zenobia still had feelings for him. He'd made bad choices. But now, when the real battle came, he wouldn't make those choices. He wouldn't make the same mistake twice. The book's pages began to flip backwards, towards the beginning. And he realized that his adventure was just beginning. The clouds parted over the Isles of Boreas. It was time to choose. The rebellion was in trouble. Ravens were scouting for the secret rebel base. They needed a game-changer. Pieces of the Sky Ripper had surfaced. Or so a scholar in the mountains had told him. Surely the weapon that banished the lost gods could defeat the Emperor. Also, a temple had risen out of empty desert.
The Emperor had brought the Skyripper pieces up out of ancient burial by his obscene rituals. Could this be where the Iblis stone was hidden? Someone better get it before he does, thought Reynardo. On the other hand, his old friend Lapino needed rescuing.
Lapino was no game changer, but could Reynardo really leave an old friend to the Ravens? Lapino. Apparently, the Mad Rabbit had sold a Pegasus that he did not exactly own. Lapino always wiggled out of trouble, given time. But he was out of time. The Ravens had figured out that Lapino was a rebel spy. If the fleet reached him first, they'd string him up for that. Never mind the winged horse. Lapino had apparently managed to confuse the judge by arguing that he hadn't actually stolen a winged horse. He'd only sold it. But wait, where was the prison? The village was empty. Had everybody fled the Ravens? Trusty old sword was always a little better when he sharpened it. People were frightened these days. Just 2 weeks past, Reynardo had sneaked through an empty town and listened to the Ravens caw about the Emperor's new taste in ritual sacrifice. The village looked so peaceful. Were the villagers hiding somewhere? Of course not. No matter how much he searched, he would only find ravens here. Haven't you always wanted to do that?
heavens were landing everywhere. The advance guard. He'd better get moving. If they got to Lupino first, they'd eat him for breakfast. Or a snack. Ravens weren't picky. If they got hungry, they sometimes forgot to interrogate their prisoners. Even top spies like Lupino. Where had the mad rabbit got to?
Kill the rebel! Caught one, Raven. Eat the rebel! Caught another. Renato felt a chill run down his back. Or possibly a flea. Dirty and bloody, Renato finally reached Lupino. The rabbit was practicing his shuffle. Renato recognized the cards. It was Lupino's favorite deck. Oh, I thought you were in danger. I am. The ravens are coming. Oh, the prison thing. Right, yeah, see, this guard owed me 53 ducats, so we made a deal. They're very reasonable people, actually, for weasels. Now, I got a brilliant plan to kidnap Zenobia. We capture Zenobia, we find out what she knows, and that's the whole war right there. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Capture the Emperor's greatest general, who happened to also be a deadly sorcerer, and, oh, his only daughter? That would be worth it. And it would be nice to see her. He'd always had a soft spot for her. And he felt sure she had one for him. On the other hand, he could still get to the core of the Sky Ripper, even if he couldn't get the whole thing. It must have great power. Zenobia wasn't just the Emperor's daughter, of course. She'd been Renato's best friend in Sword Fu school. And you're still mad for her, the rabbit reminded him. The rabbit had a point, and Renato had a feeling she'd want to see him again. Who knows what could happen between the two of them this time around? She knows all his plans, chuckled the master spy. She won't give them up easily.
She'll tell the interrogators, all right, said Lapino. Taking her would change the game, all right. The city was already under Zenobia's control. I had to admire her efficiency. Renato shivered at the thought of Zenobia at the mercy of the interrogators. Could he really turn her over to them? But this was war. It wasn't meant to be pretty. Ice walls only let you through if they knew you were cool. Bet you never saw that coming. So, what's this plan of yours? Use me as bait, said Lapino. And he outlined a slightly complicated plan that involved geese, a net, setting the Farfarer a little bit on fire, Lapino dressing as an old blind toad, and Renato hiding inside a monstrous watermelon. What could possibly go wrong? Thought Renato. Oh, this is gonna be fun, said Lapino, as he ran to go set up his marvelous plan.
If I craft a sword now, it's going to be really short.
Once again, Renato was dead right. Or actually just dead.
Renato felt new powers ready to blossom within him, or something.
Renato felt dubious about the whole plan. With every step, he was waiting for it all to go horribly wrong. But against all odds, Peppino's idiotic plan worked. Zenobia's ravens ran off after the geese, the net dropped, and Renato jumped out of the watermelon and put his sword to Zenobia's throat.
Renato, she said. Are those new scars? They look good on you.
You never returned my velvet jacket.
It was my favorite. You look stupid in velvet.
Oh, what does an imperial princess know about style?
Ah, get a room, you two, said Lupino, probably sensing the chemistry.
But the fleet was coming on fast, so they took Zenobia east, over the Nexus. She'd vanished from Swordfu School, from his life, without even saying goodbye, without ever telling him she was the Emperor's adopted daughter.
Renato was aware of her feelings. Maybe this was a bad idea, but was he letting his own feelings get the better of him? Listen, said Renato. Let's not do this. Let's not do what? Asked Zenobia. Look, you're the Emperor's right hand. You are going to have me interrogated, she said. Sure, yeah, but then I remembered how you feel about me. How I feel about you. You are going to have me interrogated. But I didn't, because you care about me, said Renato. Well, guess again, Buster, she said as she pushed him off his own boat. As he plummeted towards the bottomless clouds of the abyss, Renato decided that he'd not really handle the situation with his usual finesse. He had tried something bold and paid the price for it. The city was already under Zenobia's control. I had to admire her efficiency. Renato shivered at the thought of Zenobia at the mercy of the interrogators. Could he really turn her over to them? But this was war. It wasn't meant to be pretty. With the new aerobics craze. Am I right? Two eyes good. One eye dead. What's for dinner, he thought. Hope it's not broccoli. When I build my castle, thought Renato, all my gates are going to open with buttons, and all the levers will drop rocks at your head. So, what's this plan of yours? Use me as bait, said Lupino. And he outlined a slightly complicated plan that involved geese, a net, setting the Farfarer a little bit on fire, Lupino dressing as an old blind toad, and Renato hiding inside a monstrous watermelon. What could possibly go wrong? Thought Renato. Oh, go ahead. I'm sure you know better, said Lupino. I need more materials, thought Renato. Renato slinked through Zenobia's ship, making no sound at all. Where were her guards? Finally, he reached her bedroom. She was curled up on her bed. Oh, he'd forgotten how beautiful she was. How sleek. How soft. He tapped her on the shoulder with his sword. She became smoke. And he noticed he had a blade to his throat. Stay a while, purred a familiar voice. Did you really think you could capture me? Zenobia said as her ship lifted off. Now I just wanted some privacy, Renato said. Renato knew she still had feelings for him. Maybe he could just cut to the chase. But was timing right for that? I know how you feel about me, baby. I know you want to be with me, Renato said. What? The Emperor's evil, babe. I'm nice. Remember how nice I was back in school? You were an idiot in school. You said I was funny, said Renato, starting not to like how the conversation was going. The Emperor pulled me out of an alley. Don't tell me he's evil. Yeah, but did you ever wonder why? No, I didn't. Why don't you ask him? Well, because I know why. He wants to sacrifice you. You can tell him that when he interrogates you. Can't we just start this over? But Zenobia shut him in the hold of the ship. He had no one to explain anything to until he was brought to the Emperor's interrogators. After that, it's just screaming. He had tried something bold and paid the price for it. The city was already under Zenobia's control. I had to admire her efficiency. Renato shivered at the thought of Zenobia at the mercy of the interrogators. Could he really turn her over to them? But this was war. It wasn't meant to be pretty. If only he had some way to break the ice. Or convince it he was a friend.
So, what's this plan of yours?
Use me as bait, said Lapino.
And he outlined a slightly complicated plan that involved geese,
A net,
setting the Farfarer a little bit on fire, Lapino dressing as an old blind toad, and Reynardo hiding inside a monstrous watermelon.
what could possibly go wrong? Thought Reynardo. Oh, this is gonna be fun, said Lapino, as he ran to go set up his marvelous plan.
Reynardo hoped his mother wasn't watching.
I'm sorry. Was that your shield?
Reynardo felt dubious about the whole plan. With every step, he was waiting for it all to go horribly wrong. But against all odds, Lapino's idiotic plan worked. Zenobia's ravens ran off after the geese, the net dropped, and Reynardo jumped out of the watermelon and put his sword to Zenobia's throat.
Reynardo, she said. Are those new scars? They look good on you. You never returned my velvet jacket. It was my favorite. You look stupid in velvet. Oh, what does an imperial princess know about style?
Ah, get a room, you two, said Lapino, probably sensing the chemistry.
But the fleet was coming on fast, so they took Zenobia east, over the Nexus. She'd vanished from Swordfu School, from his life, without even saying goodbye, without ever telling him she was the Emperor's adopted daughter.
Reynardo was aware of her feelings. Maybe this was a bad idea, but was he letting his own feelings get the better of him?
Ah, Lapina was right, Reynardo thought reluctantly. She knows things. She recognized his look. You're taking me to the interrogators, aren't you? She said, wide-eyed. And then she jumped, with horror. Reynardo saw Zenobia plummeting. Then he saw the Nexus below them. Cats always land on their feet.
Ah, she'll head for the Imperial outpost, yelled Lapino. You have to catch her.
Cats can run faster, but foxes can run longer. If he ran, he could head her off before she reached her minions at the outpost. Well, he did love a good chase.
Once, he found a Superman issue #1 in mint condition in a jar he'd broken. He planned to keep breaking things until he had the whole series. It was a bit windy up here. That could come in handy in a pinch.
He was closing on her. He could smell her fear. He tried not to think about the interrogators at the secret base. What did they do to her? Maybe it didn't have to end that way. Maybe he could talk to her. But, after all, there were worse things the Imperials had done to friends of his. How could he have let her escape? Why hadn't he shackled her? Bernardo wasn't used to being on this side of the whole prisoner-jailer thing. Bernardo reached the outpost. The Imperials there were no match for him. Soon after, Zenobia limped up the path. When she realized he was already in front of her, she didn't even try to run. Oh, you left without saying goodbye. Again, he said, "Please, you're enjoying this a little too much," she said, shaken. "Oh, spare us the chit-chat, would you?" said Lapino as he shackled her hands so she couldn't throw spells. She knows all his plans. All the way back to the Farfarer, Lapino nagged Renato about how the interrogators would pry all the intel out of Zenobia. How that would turn the tides in the imminent battle. All they had to do
was taken to the rebels' secret base. Renato didn't like to think about what the interrogators would do to her. Couldn't he just talk to her? As they pulled away from the Nexus, Renato could see the fear in Zenobia's eyes. I can't take her to those creatures at the base, he whispered to Lapino. Ah, you've gone soft. Soft in the head. We captured her for what she knows. I'll take her to the mountains. Tell all the horrible things the Emperor's done. Yeah, believe me, she'll turn. And he turned the wheel. The hell you will, shouted Lapino, and he grabbed the wheel back from him. The two of them wrestled for control of the ship. It shot off like a mad sparrow. Suddenly, Renato was falling. When he came to, Zenobia was standing over him. Why didn't you take me to the base to be interrogated? She demanded. Do you know what's left of people they interrogate? This is some trick, isn't it? To make me fall for you again. Well, I won't. Oh, go on then. Scurry back to your ravens. I can't stop you. But strangely, she didn't. As Renato set off to find the Farfarer, she followed him, keeping just out of sight of the ravens. He wished there were more pylons he could use the hook on. They really needed to construct additional pylons. This one contained nothing but unmatched gloves. And something more useful. Well, they really needed to redecorate anyway. It was good to practice your moves, thought Bernardo. Cylinder. This would be the perfect place for a tic-tac-toe board. As Renato stopped to sniff the wind, Zenobia came up, still mad.
Did you really think you'd just talk me into betraying my father? Oh yeah, sure, that was exactly my plan. Then why aren't you even talking to me? Because I've never talked you into anything in my life. They're gonna court-martial you for letting me go.
He caught a whiff of the Farfarer.
Wet rope, tar, and a cask of Scoble ale he'd spilt last year.
It was that way. Renato wondered if he should have taken Zenobia to the rebel base for real. Maybe she wasn't playing him after all. After the bleak talk about the Emperor's dark secrets, I was regretting his suspicion. Sure enough, the Farfarer had crashed in some rocks. There was no sign of Lupino.
Zenobia caught up. All that kid stuff in Swordfu school. Look, that's the past. We're adults now. We have duties to other people. We have destinies. What are you talking about? And you are the most arrogant, slow-witted, light-fingered, mercenary, immoral, reckless. Run away with me, said Renato, and he realized he meant it. What, just like that? She demanded. I will, if you will. So she kissed him. And it was the best kiss he'd ever had. They held hands as they boarded the Farfarer. Renato felt light-hearted, like the winds that were playing the rigging like a balalaika. But Lupino, I need to get back to Lupino, he said, suddenly realizing he could have been captured. A prisoner. He's not. How'd you know? He saw something in her eyes he didn't understand. He fell, didn't he? Into the abyss. She looked away, wouldn't answer. But then a bolt smashed through the Farfarer's keel. The broken ship plummeted out of the clouds. Renato picked himself off the deck. They were alive. We have to get to my private ship, she said. Do you trust me? I guess I must, he said. You go on ahead. Clear the path, she said. I can't kill my own soldiers. He wanted to say that he didn't trust her, that he had no idea what he was getting into. But he had no choice, did he? He was following his heart. That's what it means to be a hero.
You had to follow your heart. This sword from the frigid north was really useful for making popsicles and birdsicles. He wasn't that good. Yet. Burnt fur. Yes. Bernardo had learned so much. It was time to turn it into something he could use. Smashing things was fun. Good thing Renato didn't have vertigo. To catch their breath. It was strange to be so close to her. What are you thinking? He asked. I'm trying very hard not to think. Me too, he said. Up ahead, he could see the thin silver of Zenobia's personal ship. It looked fast. They would leave all this behind. Hoped his hook didn't break.
As they reached her ship, Renato suddenly felt a sharp pain in his stomach. He was surprised to see a crossbow bolt sticking out of it.
I was going to lead the Empire to a secret base, said Lapino. But no, you had to screw up my plan because you still got a thing for her. Renato stared at Zenobia. The kiss. Was it real? She said, with a look of indescribable sorrow. She gestured and said an arcane word, and Lapino went flying into the abyss, screaming, "I'm telling your father!" Then she knelt down to cradle his head, and her paws felt very soft and warm. Renato stared at the book. He was still alive. Again. And still only flying away from burning Ubar. Had he lived that adventure? Or only dreamt it? Had he really died? It felt so real, not like a dream at all. And he'd lost again. Oh, he hated that. But he had made different choices. And he'd lost in a different way. It was the book, wasn't it? Oracles showed you your destiny. But this was showing him different ways he could die miserably. Thanks a bunch, book, he thought. But these were destinies that he did not have to fulfill. But he'd learned another true thing. Lapino was a traitor. Renato had suspected there was something wrong with the mad rabbit. But now he knew there was malice behind his goofiness. But that meant there must be a destiny where he survived and won, right? Otherwise, what was the point? And with that, the book's pages fluttered back once more to the beginning, and the clouds parted over the Isles of Boreas. It was time to choose. The rebellion was in trouble. Ravens were scouting for the secret rebel base. They needed a game changer. Pieces of the Sky Ripper had surfaced, or so a scholar in the mountains had told him. Surely the weapon that banished the lost gods could defeat the Emperor. Also, a temple had risen out of empty desert. The Emperor had brought the Sky Ripper pieces up out of ancient burial by his obscene rituals. Could this be where the Iblis stone was hidden? Someone better get it before he does, thought Renato. And also, his old friend Lapino needed rescuing. Of course, Renato had a pretty strong suspicion that Lapino had betrayed the rebellion. But could Renato really leave an old friend to the Ravens?